I don't know if you guys have heard of DeviantArt before. It's a website for sci-fi fantasy artists, and I'm on that site, and I got probably, I don't know, probably 50, 60 different pictures on there. Well, one day I was looking for a thumbnail for an image I had done. Oh, that's me on the left side there, the man behind the voice. And came across this really super cool image. I think it was probably a computer-generated image. It would have worked perfect for a thumbnail, but I wasn't going to rip somebody off, so I want to come up with my own. So there's this service I subscribe to which will do thumbnails for me, or at least give me suggestions. And I popped in my title, and it popped up a thumbnail that was almost identical to the one I saw online. I mean, it may have changed the pose a tiny little bit, but for the most part, it was 90% that guy's picture. And I thought, does this guy even realize that his work is being stolen and ripped off for thumbnails? I mean, is that happening to me? I mean, this AI stuff is out of control. You know, what purpose is there to be an artist when people can just outright steal from you? I mean, I remember back in the days when I was a kid, you know, if you wanted to steal music, you had to go into Walmart and stick it down your pants and walk out the door. Nowadays, you just go to YouTube and you can have anything you want. I'm sure there's probably some licensing agreements. Obviously, things have changed. But back in my day, you couldn't just get what you wanted. You had to pay for it. So on this dragon here, I based it on a thumbnail I found online. I liked the pose, but I wasn't going to rip the guy off, so I did my own original drawing. I didn't trace this. You know, it's not even really that close to the other guy's picture. It's just in the general type pose. So I wanted to make it my own, and I had an idea for this picture. I had it all planned out. I was going to do some Frank Miller type blacks around the eye, and once I had this thing halfway done, I go, no, I'm not going to do that because I like the way the eye looked, and if I do that, I'll just ruin the whole thing because I don't know enough about what I'm doing to do that. And I'm not going to invest, 25 minutes into doing a work of art just to throw in the trash can. So we'll call this a throwaway dragon. I hate to say that, but Keith Trim Dragon art is full of dragons, and I do so many of them. It's just another one of my dragons. But I do like the armor over the nose. I did base that off the other dragon I saw. It was an interesting idea. And now I'm starting to add a lot more texture and that I never used to add before. And the more I do these, the better I get at it. I mean, I've been doing this for years and years and years. But I've been trying to do a lot of YouTube videos. And I'm up to like 135 now. So every time I do a new one, it gets more familiar, it gets easier, it gets faster. That teaches you one thing right there. If you want to be an artist, practice helps. And I'm not going to ram that down your throat because there's people out there who don't practice and do just fine. But for me, I'll put it this way: the more I practice, the better I get, and the faster I get. And I can, it's not a matter of time for me. I could care less how long this takes. But what the practice does for me is gives me a better image. That's done better. My painting strokes are better, more fine-tuned than I was before. I'm not so sloppy. It just makes me more professional. And I know there's lots of art out there that's very sloppy, and people like the slop, and because art is so, there's no real definition of what is art and what's not art. But to me, I like art that looks like something. I'm not going to, do an abstract and call it art because I call that furniture paintings. I call that decoration. Even though I know back in the old days of the Renaissance, even those artworks were technically decorations. But there's a difference between fine art and abstract. I'm not going to get in that debate right now. I'm not a fan of the abstracts. I guess in this particular painting, later on you'll see I did some background stuff, and I'll call that abstract. So right now I'm just blocking in with some ink wash because I love the ink wash. A gentleman commented on one of my posts or paintings that back in the day he used to use ink wash, but now does everything on a tablet. I've kind of used tablets in the past. I wasn't really happy with it because I don't get the tactile stimulation of holding a brush in my hand. I love the way the water flows on the paper, and you don't get that from a tablet. Maybe I'm a product of my generation, And if I would have embraced tablets back when I was in high school, I'd probably have a different mindset on this. But if it wasn't for the way the brush feels in my hand, the way the ink wash looks as I put it on, I wouldn't even do this. You know, I got 55 other hobbies I do. I write books. I write lots of music. I play guitar like everybody else. I want to be a rock star like everybody else. I mean, you can go on YouTube and find 3 CDs worth of music I wrote. You can go online and find 20 different novels I wrote. And so art is just part of what I do. And I combine it all together because some of my artwork ended up on my book covers. But I don't write books about dragons, which is kind of funny. I just like the imagery of the dragons. My books are more sci-fi fantasy stuff. And they're very, very, very weird. Because I took a class in college years ago on free writing, and it was fun because you just sit there for an hour and just write what comes out of your head. And so my books are more like that. They're creative writing. You got to read one of them. I'll put a link in here one of these days. So right now I'm going on to my second or third ink wash value, darkening things down, making things look a little more round, a little more defined, and this is the part that I think is the coolest. I love the black and white imagery here, and later on I do color this painting. So if you want to see part 2, I'll try to tag that one to this one. If I don't, just look for the color version. So this one I want to be strictly black and white, even but the color version comes out looking pretty sweet. If you want to learn how to paint, you know, draw, just follow my stuff. If you just want to watch it for entertainment value, watch my stuff. Like, subscribe, like, ring the bell, do all that internet stuff. Share this with your friends and make me famous because I want to be a YouTuber like everybody else. So I'm doing a little more darkening down here, a little more in the mouth because, you know, mouths are dark, and kind of defining the teeth and the tongue. Looks pretty cool. And I want you guys to show up for my next video. Thank you very much.